Hey there, I'm Lee. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be doing a review today of the Fintie Slim Case for Kindle Scribe. The Kindle Scribe, of course, is Amazon's 10.2-inch writing and drawing and reading super e-ink tablet that just came out here in the late part of 2022. I've been using it for a little bit now and have found this case and want to talk to you about it. So if you've clicked on a video to learn about a case, you're probably like me and you have a little bit of analysis paralysis about buying anything, because some people can just walk in a store and buy a case without knowing anything about it, and bully for them. If you're that person, good for you. I tend to keep my cases a long time. I like them to protect my devices and do the things that I want them to do, and so I tend to dig in a lot before I buy a case. Hopefully this helps you if you are looking at this case. It's got some pros, it's got a couple of cons, and I'm going to try to outline those for you now. Now, the first question with a case is always, do you actually need a case? Some people go naked with their phones, go naked with their devices, and get by just fine. I would not recommend doing that with a device like the Scribe. This is a large device. It is going to be easy to knock off a table, and if it falls, there's a lot of screen to get damaged. So I would be disinclined to keep this device outside of a case for normal use. I certainly wouldn't take it anywhere outside of the case because even though it feels well built, any device that has that much screen exposed to the world, it's going to be fragile and it's certainly going to be prone to shearing and breaking that way. So I would hate to see that happen to you, so I would definitely recommend you finding a case. It's the early days for the Scribe, but there are already a number of cases coming out. Amazon, of course, has their official cases, which range in price from about $60 to about $100, depending on what materials you like. I'll talk in a minute about why I chose the Fintie case, but I generally have had good luck with their cases in the past. I had a Fintie Paperwhite case, which is really just kind of a plastic shell, but it did the job. It kept my Paperwhite secure. And then I have this Fintie origami case for my Kindle Oasis, which I'll talk about shortly as well. But this is about the Fintie Slim case for the Scribe. And as you can see, it is thin, but it is big because it's a big device. So let's talk about the 5 things that I care about when it comes to a case. And I'm going to go point by point and talk about how this case does or doesn't live up to those different areas. The first is price. The second is weight and girth. How much bigger does it make the device that you're aspiring to protect? The third is protection. How protected do you feel with your device in this case? The fourth is features. What does it add? What does it do for you? And the fifth is aesthetics, which is probably the thing I care the least about, but it's something you might care about, so I'll give you my thoughts about the aesthetics of this particular case. So first of all, let's think about price. I generally have kind of a rule that I'm not going to pay more than about 10 or 15% of the cost of a device on a case. And the reason is you could generally pay about 20% and get a product protection plan and get the product replaced if it got damaged. So if you're going to pay 20%, you might as well go naked, take your risks, and get a new device if something happens. But I think to keep a device in working order and to keep from having to swap it out or, just to be frankly a responsible device owner, I think about a 10 to 15% cost is about fair. So obviously for a laptop, that might be more expensive. For something like a Kindle Paperwhite, it might be a lot less. But the price of this case, the Scribe is in the $350 range, depending on which unit you get. It goes from $350 to $430. And so a $35 to $40 case is not outlandish amount of money to protect it. So on price, the Fintie wins. It's about $20 to $30 less than the cheapest Amazon first-party case, and it's about $40 to $60 less than the premium case. So it definitely does a good job with the pricing. Next is weight and girth, and we'll start with the easy one, which is girth. This is called the Slim case for a reason. Hopefully you can see it doesn't add really much thickness to the Scribe at all, which is nice because one of the things that's great about the Scribe is that it is so thin and light. It does add some I mean, it's obviously it's a case, so it is not going to be noticeable. And it is one of those things when you pop the Scribe out, you're like, wow, this is really nice and small. But it doesn't feel objectionable. It's easy to carry around. It's about the size of a one subject composition notebook, so it's not outlandish at all. Weight is a different issue. The Scribe by itself is just under a pound. It's about 445 grams or 15 3/4 ounces by itself. The case adds another 12.6 ounces or about 360 grams. So when you have both together, you're looking at about 28 ounces, right? So you're looking at a substantially heavier device than what you would get with just a naked Scribe. Luckily, the protection is pretty great, and we'll talk about that in a second. But make no mistake, you will feel this device when you have the case on. It feels pretty light without it, and it feels fairly heavy with it. So even though it's only about 12 ounces, it's a 12 ounces that makes a pretty big difference. For protection, this case is exactly what I hoped it would be. The device itself actually sits in a plastic shell that goes around and holds onto it. It feels very secure. The front is nice and rigid. When you open it up, you can see it has a little bit of a lip around that keeps the device from really anything that hits this. It would have to hit it pretty hard, I feel like, to do any damage. So on the protection merits, I think this case will do a very good job. I have no problems putting this in my backpack, walking around with it. I feel like it will do a perfectly good job of keeping my Scribe nice and new. Now let's talk about features. And features is one of those areas where cases are not always just a case. With this Paperwhite case, it literally is a case, right? It doesn't do anything except protect the device, which is great. It's something. But if you look at this old Kindle keyboard case, this is a GOAT case. This is an amazing, just all-timer cool case because this keyboard device was pre-Paperwhite, and it has this pretty cool little light that pops out. And so whenever the Kindle is on, you get a light, right? Which is pretty cool. This is kind of an absurd case, and it was pretty expensive at the time. It's leather or leatherette, I'm not sure which, and it's got this little thing. It feels like back when the Kindle was a more expensive, more premium device, you could justify something like this. Now this seems just kind of cockamamie, but it was a pretty cool case at the time because it had a light and you could read in bed, which is what I do. The Kindle Oasis case that I use from also from the same manufacturer, from Fintie, you can see from the scoring on the front, it has this pretty sweet move that it origamis into a little tent, and so you can plop it on the table and you get two different angles. I like to read while I eat, and so being able to prop up my device was pretty important to me, and it's one of the reasons I chose this case because it has this feature where it kind of splits off from the back, as you can see, and then it has these two ridges, these two little détentes here that you can put in that, and it sits up like that, or it sits up like that. And it has two different angles that it can sit up so that you can read it. And if you don't like to read in landscape mode, you can do this little mojo here, and you can read in portrait mode, right? And you can prop it up like that. And it actually works pretty well. I don't know how obvious that was. It's a little bit janky. This hinge doesn't feel like it is likely to fail, but if anything's going to fail, it's going to be that hinge. I could see myself putting it in my backpack and catching on something and getting a little aggressive and just shearing it off the case. So far, that hasn't been an issue in the first week or so of using it, but I do wonder about the long-term life of that hinge. But I will say, it's pretty nice. Like, it does what I want it to do, which is let me read at the table. What it will not let you do is easily get to a nice drawing incline. So you can, if you want a low incline, it doesn't really do that. You really just have those two little areas here that let you lock in. Other than that, it's just going to lay flat, which is fine. But I know some people do like that gentle incline to draw on or to take notes on. This case won't really do that. It'll just lay flat. The first-party Kindle cases do have an angle that you can go at, so that might be something that's worth it to you. It wasn't worth it to me because I don't anticipate doing a lot of drawing. One other feature that I like about this case is it does have a cutout in the spine, what would be the spine of the book, if you will, for your Type-C charger. And it has this little hole, which at first I thought was for a headphone jack that maybe Amazon decided to remove late in the development of the Scribe, and maybe Fintie hadn't gotten the word, but that's actually for the charging light. So it does have an area where you can see the level of charge. So you'll see if your device is charging or if it's charged, and that is kind of nice as well. You also may have noticed, because this is in a plastic shell, you can't magnetically attach your pen, so you get this loop up at the top. And that works really fine. It's nice and snug. It comes out easily, but it doesn't come out accidentally. You have to really pull it out, and it feels like that's not going anywhere. So I don't think you're going to lose your pen with it sitting on top of this device. The only thing I don't really like is if you're reading with the bezel on this side, and you've got this flapping against your stomach. It can feel kind of weird. I don't know. It's a minor thing, but it's something to think about, and it's something that bugs me occasionally, but I can certainly get over it. The other aspect of a case you want to think about too is how easy it is to remove the device from the case. As I said, this device is a lot thinner when it's not in the case. And just like with the Oasis, you may want to take it out if you're going to the pool, so it's, you can take advantage of the waterproof capabilities. You could very well want to take this device out, and luckily it comes out very easy. You don't want a case that's going to be a huge pain in the butt. You can see it just slides right out, and it slides right back in. It's got a nice grip on the device, but not so much that it's hard to pull out at all. And you've got a nice wide area here that you can pull on. So it passes muster with that very well. The last thing, and the thing probably I care the least about, but which you might care about, is aesthetics. There are several different colors of this case available. This is just black. The materials don't feel particularly premium. This feels kind of like a 3-ring binder kind of material, maybe one grade up from that. This is not going to be confused for leather or anything like leather. It just feels plasticky, but it feels like it'll hold up to damage. It's no sign of scratches or fingerprints, so it holds up well that way. I find the back kind of ugly, but it doesn't really matter to me all that much. But if aesthetics are your thing, this case is just so-so. But some of the colors are kind of fun too, so if you want something colorful, you've got that option as well. So that is the Fintie Slim case for Kindle Scribe. 360-degree rotating. There are a couple of different cases already, so that's the one you'll want to look for. I'll put the link in the description. There's no affiliate link. Just click it if you want to buy it. Buy it. I'm generally quite happy with it. As I said, I think when I bought it, it was $32. Right now, it's for certain colors, it's as high as $37. For the black one, it's $32.99. I think it's well worth that. I do feel like it's going to protect the device without being a huge pain in my butt, which is all I can really ask for from a case. And so if that's what you want, it might be good for you. Thanks so much for watching the video and coming to the channel. I want to keep doing more Kindle videos, maybe more e-reader videos, maybe more general tech stuff. I don't know. I'll do whatever. If there's something you'd like to see, leave it in the comments. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to get you an answer. Thanks for coming. I'm Lee, and I'll talk to you soon.